Hello, and welcome to part 10 of Philosophy of Religion on Worldview Connections with Isaac Matthews. So, we discussed this. I'm not going to reread the whole quote, but what Jordan Peterson's definition of God. Feel free to pause and read through this or watch the last video. I go through this more. But Sam Harris's criticism to Jordan Peterson's definition of God, I paraphrase, basically saying, well, that's not what most people mean by God. You agree with Sam Harris. The sentiment there is still an argument against Jordan Peterson. I'm not talking about a point system, as if they're trying to do that, but do you agree with that being a point against Jordan Peterson? When asked if he believes in God, Jordan Peterson has answered, I live as if there is a God. To those who ask, is this any type of Christianity? My response is, does it need to be Christianity? He's never said he believes in the literal resurrection. He says it's a mystery. He talks about that a lot. He's basically sounds agnostic in certain ways. But is there a difference between believing in God versus living as though there is a God? If you said, I believe there's a God, what type of theism does Jordan Peterson mean by this? And not just him, but those who relate to him on his YouTube channel. Feel free to watch these videos, and I discussed a little bit of these. We're investigating theism. We look at the previous videos, a series about presuppositionalism, apologetics, and Christianity that I've talked about. But why talk about theism and these forms of at least agnosticism? Well, reason number one is, again, remember back to that first episode I have on here, the philosophy of religion, that pure research, the facts of data. I'm emphasizing some points here. I'm highlighting the fact that Christians and Muslims and a great number of Hindus and other, Jews, groups of people who believe in God, that majority of people, and even of those who are unaffiliated, right? They still believe in God. So let's look at this data again. I'm emphasizing this. 63% of the 7.5 billion people, around there of Earth they're certain that God exists. This is a majority of humanity. This is not an insignificant number. We hear a lot from the atheists and agnostics, mainly the vocal atheists in the world. But let's look at this. If you add this up with the 20%, you add in the other 20% of those who feel fairly certain that God exists. That's 83% of humanity believe God exists at varying levels. Now, you have the atheists and the agnostics on there, right? They have about 12%. I'm adding up that 1% and the 9%, 2%. That's the minority there. But if you have the 5% who are not at all certain or not too certain, they can be taken as a weak theism or a weak agnosticism, I guess. But you add that up, and that's 88% of humanity are within these categories of Gnostic theism, a weak agnosticism. So around 90% of humanity are in this area that I've highlighted in this red box highlighter. Are they wrong? I mean, I want to sit for a second and think about this. We hear a lot from those who are atheists. I love the fact that they can speak out and the freedom of speech, and I like to learn from their thoughts and ideas. And I myself am sometimes like, I don't know where I'm in here, kind of agnostic. I believe, I hope, good things to come in the life to come, whatnot. But we're talking about 90% of humanity is within the area where they're saying, let's look at agnosticism here, where they're able to say there may or may not be a God. It's anyone's guess. The evidence is about equal, maybe, right? There's that lighter end there. But you get more people, population of the world are in the bottom of this chart of theism, saying there is a God, or even in the weak theism area, right? The existence of a God is likely, so I'm willing to say I believe in a God. And so again, the most of the people we hear about religion from are atheists that have a dominant voice in the media. But I think that's something to talk about here. But thank you for watching. Did I earn a like with this video? I hope you subscribe. Please join the community here and please share. Thank you.